Have you ever noticed how a woman can meet a man who owns everything? The luxury car, the mansion overlooking the city, the high-paying job, and yet feel absolutely nothing. But then she meets another man. A man with quiet confidence, worn jeans, and steady eyes. And suddenly her heartbeat changes. He doesn't flash wealth. He doesn't boast. He simply exists, and then that's enough to draw her in. It doesn't make sense at first glance, does it? Because we've been told that money is the language of attraction, that success, status, and material proof are what make a man desirable. But deep down, women aren't chasing money. They're chasing energy, something ancient, something primal, something that can't be bought, borrowed, or imitated. It's that silent gravity a man carries when he's grounded in who he is. It's the calm certainty in his tone, the quiet strength behind his eyes, the way he seems unbothered by the chaos around him. A woman may admire your wealth, but she'll only love your essence. Because the essence of a man, his discipline, his fire, his self-control, and his emotional stillness, it cannot be purchased. It's forged in silence, in struggle, in mastery over himself. That's what truly captivates her. Not the car you drive, but the energy you radiate. Not the mansion you live in, but the peace you live with. Not the number in your bank account, but the strength in your character. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. I'm going to reveal 6 things women secretly love more than money, each rooted in Stoic philosophy and the psychology of attraction, principles that have guided powerful men for centuries. So listen closely, because once you understand these truths, you'll stop chasing approval and start magnetizing it. You'll stop trying to impress and start embodying what truly draws her in. Because in the end, attraction isn't about what you show her. It's about what you make her feel in your presence, your silence, your discipline, and your unshakable energy. 1. Unshakable direction. The power of a man who knows where he's going. In every woman's heart, there's a radar, an emotional compass that instantly detects the difference between a man drifting through life and a man moving with purpose. You see, direction isn't about being rich, powerful, or even successful. It's about energy. The energy of a man who knows where he's going, even if he's still on his way. Take the story of Michael, a man from London. He didn't come from money. His apartment was small, his clothes simple, but his presence undeniable. While others complained about their lives, Michael woke up before dawn and went for a run along the Thames. He listened to Stoic audiobooks while the city still slept. He didn't talk about his goals. He lived them. One morning, a coworker, Sarah, asked him why he worked so hard when no one seemed to notice. He smiled and said, "Because I notice." That sentence hit her harder than any compliment she'd ever received. It revealed something rare, a man who doesn't need recognition to move forward. Women can feel that kind of focus instantly. They see it in your eyes, in the way you walk, in how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's not arrogance, it's conviction. A man with purpose doesn't chase women because his energy already pulls them in. He doesn't need validation because his path validates him. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the essence of direction. Movement over words, growth over comfort. Men without direction look for distraction. Men with direction attract devotion. Because here's the secret. Women don't want to lead your life for you. They want to trust that you know where you're going. They want to feel that if life collapses tomorrow, you'll still know how to rebuild. Direction is masculine gravity, and it keeps her emotionally anchored even when everything else feels uncertain. When a woman senses your focus, your mission, your drive, she relaxes. Because your life has rhythm, and she can feel it. And that rhythm becomes the melody she wants to move with. So stop asking, "How can I make her like me?" Start asking, "What am I building that deserves her respect?" Because once your direction becomes unshakable, your value stops being negotiable. To emotional integrity, the courage to stay real. In a world full of masks, authenticity is the rarest currency of all. Every day, men fake confidence to impress women, exaggerate success, hide insecurity, act unfazed. But women are emotional detectives. They feel the truth beneath your words. Ethan from Toronto learned that the hard way. He dated a woman named Olivia. On the surface, he was perfect, ambitious, articulate, and successful. But underneath, he was anxious. He feared rejection, so he overcompensated with charm. He texted too fast, bragged subtly about work, and said whatever he thought she wanted to hear. For a while it worked. until she saw through it. She told him, "You're trying to impress me, not connect with me." And with that, she walked away. Months later, Ethan met her again. This time he was different, quieter, calmer. He'd stopped chasing approval and started facing himself. He spoke with honesty instead of performance. And she noticed, not because of what he said, but because of what he didn't say. That's emotional integrity, the courage to stay real even when it costs you admiration. The Stoics believed virtue was the highest form of beauty, not physical perfection, but moral alignment. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And part of that mastery is truth. When you lie to impress, you're really saying, "Who I am isn't enough." And a woman can feel that lack instantly. But when you own your flaws, your past, your humanity, she sees a man she can trust. And trust builds attraction deeper than any flashy gesture ever could. Because real connection isn't built on pretending to be perfect. It's built on the courage to be seen. So don't fear your truth. Speak it, live it, embody it. You'll lose some people, but you'll attract the ones who matter. A man's authenticity is the mirror of his soul. And the moment you stop performing, your presence becomes priceless. Money might buy attention, but only integrity earns respect. And respect, my friend, is the foundation of love that lasts. 3. Masculine serenity, the calm within chaos. Imagine two men walking into the same storm. One panics, shouting, reacting, blaming. The other breathes, steady, quiet, focused. Guess which one she trusts? Serenity isn't about being emotionless. It's about mastering emotion. It's the ability to stay still while others lose control. James from New York lived this truth. He once dated a woman named Emily, and passionate, fiery, unpredictable. Most men fought back when she got emotional. James didn't. He listened, stayed calm, let her energy burn out. And when she was done, she looked at him and then whispered, "You make me feel safe." That's serenity. That's power. Women are emotional by nature, but they don't want another source of chaos. They crave a man whose presence feels like peace. Someone who doesn't run when she's overwhelmed, who doesn't match her anxiety with more noise. Stoicism teaches that true strength isn't in reaction, it's in restraint. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Your calm is a silent form of dominance. It says, "I control my world." Money can't buy that. You can't fake it. It's forged in discipline, solitude, and failure. When you can face life's storms without flinching, women feel your depth. They sense that you're not just strong, you're anchored, and that stability becomes addictive. Because in a world of men who fold under pressure, the man who remains unshaken becomes unforgettable. When you hold calm in chaos, you're not just controlling your emotions, you're controlling the energy of the room. You're leading without words, and that's what true masculinity feels like, quiet authority. So next time life tests your patience, breathe. Let everyone else panic. Let the world lose its rhythm. You stay still, because a calm man is a rare man, and rare men don't chase and they attract. 4. Command over desire. The power of a man who doesn't need to chase. There's something magnetic about a man who could chase but chooses not to. He's not cold. He's not arrogant. He's in control. Most men believe that showing interest means constant pursuit, constant validation. They think attention equals affection. But in truth, the more a man chases, the more he reveals his emptiness. You see, women aren't drawn to the man who needs them. They're drawn to the man who's already whole without them. Take Daniel, a fitness trainer from Los Angeles. He was used to women flirting with him. The kind of attention that makes most men addicted to approval. But Daniel wasn't impressed by it. He'd learned the art of restraint. One night after training a client, a beautiful woman named Mia asked him out. She was used to men fawning over her, complimenting her, begging for her attention. But Daniel didn't play that game. He smiled and said, "I'd love to, but let's plan it when I'm free." No rush, no desperation. For the first time, Mia felt curious. Why wasn't he chasing? Why wasn't he trying to impress her? That's the paradox of attraction. The moment you stop needing to win her, you start owning her curiosity. Stoicism teaches this through the virtue of temperance, self-control in the face of desire. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Desire isn't the enemy, attachment is. When a man can feel attraction without being ruled by it, he becomes dangerous in the most magnetic way. Women don't want to be your oxygen. They want to feel chosen, not needed. And the man who can desire without dependency gives her something no rich man can. Emotional safety. Control over desire is the mark of maturity. It says, I want you, but I don't need you to complete me. That statement, unspoken yet felt, shakes a woman's soul. Because when a man isn't moved by lust, attention, or temptation, his silence becomes louder than another man's pursuit. He becomes rare. He becomes respected. He becomes unforgettable. So stop chasing what runs. Focus on what aligns. Because the man who commands his desires commands his destiny. 5. The strength of solitude. When a man becomes his own source. Every great man at some point must walk alone. And it's in that silence, not in applause, not in comfort, that he discovers who he really is. Women can feel that solitude in a man. Not loneliness, but peace in his own company. It's a kind of quiet power that can't be faked. Because it's earned in the fires of isolation. Eli, an architect from Madrid, learned this truth after heartbreak. He'd built his world around a woman, his plans, his dreams, his sense of worth. When she left, he broke. For months, he tried to fill the void with distractions, parties, new women, noise. But nothing healed. One evening, he sat alone on his apartment floor, surrounded by silence. For the first time, he didn't reach for his phone. He just listened. He realized he'd never actually known himself without someone else's validation. That night became the beginning of his rebirth. He started walking at dawn, journaling his thoughts, meditating, reading Marcus Aurelius' meditations, and slowly he began to rebuild his relationship with solitude. Months later, when he met someone new, he didn't need her to fix him. He was already whole. His peace was his power. That's what women secretly crave. Not a man desperate to fill his emptiness with them, but a man who's already full of life, a man who enjoys his silence, who finds strength in solitude, who doesn't crumble when the room grows quiet. The Stoics lived this principle daily. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruption than your own soul." Solitude isn't loneliness. It's spiritual discipline. It teaches patience, reflection, and control. Men who fear being alone chase noise. Women, validation, distraction. But men who embrace solitude attract peace, and peace attracts everything else. Because when you become your own source of happiness, your presence no longer asks to be loved, it invites it. And women feel that. It's not arrogance, it's abundance. So take time to know your own company. Walk without music, sit without screens, reflect without distraction. Because the man who's mastered solitude becomes magnetic, not because he seeks connection, but because he no longer needs it to exist. 6. The discipline of growth. The silent magnetism of a man evolving. There's something irresistibly powerful about a man who's always evolving, who refuses to stay the same. Growth is masculine beauty in motion. It's the constant sharpening of mind, body, and soul. And women can feel that evolution, not through your words, but through your energy. Adrian from Berlin embodied this truth. He wasn't born confident. In his 20s, he was lazy, distracted, constantly comparing himself to others. But one day, after losing his job and relationship in the same week, he had a realization. No one's coming to save me. That moment broke him, but it also built him. He started small, waking up early, reading Stoic texts, working out daily, setting micro goals, not to impress anyone, but to rebuild self-respect. Every time he improved, even slightly, his posture changed. His tone deepened. His energy sharpened. Months later, when his ex saw him again, she didn't recognize him. He hadn't become richer or more handsome. He'd become centered. That's the power of growth. Women are naturally drawn to evolution. They're emotional creatures tuned to progress. They crave the energy of a man who's moving forward, because growth signals safety. It tells her, I won't collapse when life tests me. I'll adapt. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around this idea, that a man's purpose is not comfort but improvement. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And he was right. Most men waste their lives trying to maintain the illusion of success instead of becoming successful from within. Discipline is the ultimate aphrodisiac, not because it's glamorous, but because it's rare. When you can train your mind to do what it resists, you radiate quiet confidence. Women don't fall in love with your potential. They fall in love with your progress. So evolve, not for them, but for you. Read daily. Learn relentlessly. Move with intention. Because when you grow, everything around you rises. Your relationships, your peace, your presence, And when she sees that, she doesn't just admire you. She feels safe in your strength. She feels seen in your stability, and she feels drawn to your evolution. Growth isn't loud. It's silent, steady, spiritual. And it's the most attractive form of energy a man can possess. Because the man who's constantly improving never has to chase. He becomes the prize. Conclusion. Now you understand the truth. Women may admire the glitter of wealth, but what they crave lies far deeper than gold. They crave direction, a man who knows where he's going, a man whose steps are guided by vision, not validation, because direction gives birth to certainty, and certainty is magnetic. When you walk with purpose, you don't chase opportunities, you attract them. They crave truth, a man who stands unapologetically in his authenticity. In a world where everyone's performing, truth is rare. Most people are busy pretending to be confident, pretending to be happy, pretending to be complete. But when a man speaks from his soul, his presence cuts through the noise. His honesty becomes a mirror that reminds others what realness feels like. They crave serenity, a man who brings calm to the chaos. Life is unpredictable, emotions run wild, and people are constantly pulled by fear. But the man who can stay grounded, who can breathe when others break, becomes her anchor. That quiet strength is what gives a woman permission to let her guard down. They crave joy, not the shallow thrill of constant excitement, but the deeper kind of joy that comes from contentment. The man who can find laughter in simple moments, who treats life as a playground rather than a battlefield, radiates a light that no luxury can imitate. That's the kind of joy that reminds a woman life can still be beautiful, even in its imperfections. They crave virtue, a man who stands for something greater than himself. Because strength without honor is dangerous, and charm without character is manipulation. True masculinity isn't domination, it's leadership. It's the ability to inspire, protect, and build, not through fear, but through example. And finally, they crave wholeness, a man who doesn't need the world to complete him. A man who's learned to sit with his pain, embrace his solitude, and rise through his trials. Wholeness is quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't come from applause, but from peace. Because when you no longer seek completion in others, you become complete within yourself. And that's when you're truly free. Because in the end, money fades, looks fade, status fades, but what remains is essence, the stillness in your eyes, the discipline in your actions, the peace in your voice. That's what endures. So stop trying to buy attraction. Stop begging for attention. Start becoming the kind of man whose presence speaks louder than his possessions. When you live by these 6 principles, direction, truth, serenity, joy, virtue, and wholeness, you stop chasing and start drawing. You stop asking for love and start embodying it. You stop proving your worth and start living it. And when that transformation happens, something profound occurs when the world starts to respect you even in your silence. Because people can sense it, the quiet confidence of a man who knows himself. He doesn't chase because he already has what others seek, inner peace. That is the secret, the essence of timeless masculinity. Not to impress the world, but to master yourself so deeply that the world can't help but notice. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.